Right now, somewhere, someone is staring at their phone, waiting for three dots to appear, for a name to show up on the screen. Their chest tightens every time it buzzes, and drops every time it isn't the right person. You've felt this. Maybe you're feeling it right now. Here's what almost nobody tells you. This exact feeling, the racing heart, the obsessive checking, the way one person's face suddenly becomes the most important thing in your entire world, is not new. It's not romantic. It's not even really about the other person. For 99% of human history, there were no phones, no texts, no dating apps. And yet, when scientists scanned the brains of people who'd just fallen in love, they found something that shouldn't exist if love were a modern invention. So how did ancient humans fall in love? And why is your brain still running the exact same program 300,000 years later? To understand this, you have to understand how close we came to not existing at all. In 2023, a team of geneticists published a study in the journal Science. Using a new method called fit-col, they reconstructed the population size of our ancestors going back almost 1 million years. What they found was almost impossible to believe. Around 900,000 years ago, the entire breeding population of early humans dropped to roughly 1,280 individuals. Not 1,280 tribes, 1,280 people. For over 100,000 years, our entire lineage survived on a population smaller than a small town. Nearly 99% of our ancestors were wiped out. Whatever survived that bottleneck had to do one thing extremely well: find a mate, stay close to them, and keep their offspring alive long enough to reproduce again. Every single person alive today is descended from someone who succeeded at that, over and over, for hundreds of thousands of years. Which means the feeling you get when you fall for someone isn't a modern glitch. It's the surviving code from the species' closest brush with extinction. In the late 1990s, biological anthropologist Helen Fisher from Rutgers University and the Kinsey Institute set out to answer a simple question: what actually happens inside the brain when you fall in love? She and her team put 49 people into an fMRI scanner. 17 of them had just fallen madly in love, 15 had just been dumped, and 17 had been married for an average of 21 years and said they were still in love. What she found was that romantic love isn't one feeling. It's 3 separate systems, each older than the others, each with its own job. The first is lust, pure sex drive. It evolved to get you looking for partners, period. It doesn't care who. The second is attraction, what we call romantic love. This one does something strange. It narrows your focus down to one specific person and makes everything about them feel meaningful. Their voice, their laugh, the street they live on. Fisher calls this building a love map, and once it switches on, it's almost impossible to turn off voluntarily. The third is attachment, the long, slow bond that keeps 2 people together for years, calm, secure, built on oxytocin and vasopressin, the same chemicals released during childbirth and skin-to-skin contact. Here's the part that should stop you. When Fisher's team scanned the brains of the newly in love group, the activity wasn't in the parts of the brain associated with emotion. It was in the dopamine system, the same circuitry activated by cocaine. Fisher's conclusion was blunt: romantic love is a drive stronger than the sex drive. People don't fall apart over a one-night stand that didn't happen. They do sometimes over heartbreak. That's not poetry. That's a literal description of which ancient survival system just got triggered. So why would evolution build something this intense? Why not just keep it simple? Attraction, sex, done? The answer is sitting in every human baby ever born. Human infants are, frankly, useless for years. A baby chimpanzee can cling to its mother's fur within hours of birth. A human baby can't even hold up its own head. Our brains are so large and birth canals so limited that human babies are born at a stage of development other primates reach while still inside the womb. That means raising one human child to the point where it can feed itself, walk, and survive takes years, not weeks, years. A widely cited 2015 review by psychologists Garth Fletcher, Jeffrey Simpson, Lorne Campbell, and Nicola Overall proposed that romantic love functions as what they called a commitment device. Its entire purpose is to override short-term thinking, the part of you that might otherwise wander, for long enough that two parents stay close, together, through the most dangerous years of a child's life. In other words, that overwhelming, can't think straight, can't eat, can't focus feeling when you're falling for someone, that's not your brain malfunctioning. That's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do, temporarily overriding everything else so two people stay glued together at the exact moment a helpless infant needs them both. It's not a bug. It's a 300,000-year-old parenting strategy that happens to feel like the best thing that's ever happened to you. But here's where it gets stranger. If love is a system built to keep two parents together, why does it so often just stop? In the late 1980s, Helen Fisher went looking for the 7-year itch, the old idea that marriages tend to fall apart after about 7 years. She pulled divorce records from 58 different societies using data collected by the United Nations between 1947 and 1981. Dozens of cultures, different religions, different economies, different legal systems. The 7-year itch wasn't there. But something else was. Across almost every society she studied, divorces consistently peaked, not at year 7, but around year 4. Divorce risk was highest for men in their late 20s and women in their 20s. And the single biggest factor? Couples with one child were far more likely to divorce than couples with none or with several. Fisher then looked at how long hunter-gatherer mothers breastfeed their children. Anthropologist Melvin Connor, who spent years studying the Kung people of southern Africa, found the answer: about 4 years. After that, the child is weaned, joins a group of other children, and is partly cared for by older siblings and relatives. The mother is, biologically speaking, free again. Fisher's conclusion was almost unsettling. The 4-year divorce peak in modern humans, she argued, might be the leftover signature of an ancient reproductive strategy. Stay bonded just long enough to get one child to the point where it no longer needs constant care. Then, the original pull of attraction has done its job, and it can simply turn off. Think about that. The honeymoon phase ending isn't a sign something's wrong with your relationship. It might be the oldest clock in human biology quietly hitting zero, a clock set 300,000 years before anyone invented the word marriage. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because none of this stayed in the past. It's running right now on hardware that was never designed for the world you live in. That dopamine system Fisher found lighting up in newly in love brains is the exact same system activated by gambling, social media, and substance addiction. Your brain genuinely cannot tell the difference between the person I like might text back and the machine might pay out. For 300,000 years, the attraction system had a built-in limiter. You could only be near so many potential partners, see them so often, and wait so long for a reply. The system evolved around scarcity. Now you can match with dozens of people in an evening. You can see exactly when someone read your message and chose not to reply. You can watch someone's life update in real time without ever speaking to them again. The ancient circuitry, built for a world of maybe a few hundred people you'd ever meet in your entire life, is now firing constantly for strangers at a scale it was never built to handle. That anxious feeling, refreshing an app, waiting for a reply, that's the exact same neural reward system Fisher scanned in a lab, just running on a network of millions instead of a campfire of 20. So here's the question worth sitting with. We tend to talk about heartbreak, jealousy, obsessing over someone, the gut punch of rejection, as if they're problems, things to get over, signs that something in us is too sensitive, too needy, too much. But what if they're not malfunctions at all? What if that crushing feeling after a breakup is the exact same system that 900,000 years ago helped a population of barely 1,280 people stay paired up long enough not to go extinct? What if rejection hurts more than almost anything else? Because for nearly all of human history, losing your partner didn't just mean heartbreak, it meant your odds of surviving the next winter and your child's odds of surviving infancy both just got dramatically worse? The feeling isn't oversized. The stakes it was built for were. Every person you've ever loved, every person who's ever loved you, every aching, obsessive, can't eat, can't sleep feeling that's ever kept you up thinking about one specific human being. All of it runs on a system that was already ancient before agriculture existed, before cities, before writing, before anyone had a word for love at all. It survived a population crash that nearly ended our species. And every time you feel it, really feel it, you're not being irrational. You're hearing from every single ancestor who came before you, all of them telling you in the only language that's ever really worked, don't let this one go.